In this video, you will learn how to set up billing entities. Billing entities are Precision's way of keeping all of the billing information for a clinic or provider together in one convenient location. The Billing Entities section in Precision is located in the Administration panel. To access it, select the Administration icon, then select the Billing Entities button. The Billing Entities screen will open, showing a list of the billing entities on the left, and on the right, the information for the selected billing entity. Please note the red boxes. These red boxes correspond with the boxes on the HCFA form. Just because the box is next to a field does not mean that information will always print in those boxes on the HCFA form. Rather, that information is available to print in those boxes depending on the needs of the individual payers. To add a billing entity to Precision, select the Add button. The Billing Entity window will open. The first field, Billing Entity Name, is strictly for your clinic's use, simply a way to keep your billing entities organized. Be sure to give your billing entities very descriptive names, as you will want to make it easy to tell them apart from a drop-down menu. Enter the provider's name and title exactly as you wish it to appear in boxes 17, 31, and 33 of the HCFA form. In the Clinic Corporation Name field, enter the corporation name you use to bill under, which may or may not be the same as your clinic's name. In the street address fields, enter the actual street address of your clinic, including your clinic's contact phone number. The billing address fields are only used for a clinic who has their check sent to a P.O. box, or multiple clinic locations where all the billing is sent to one location. If you would like all checks to go to the same address as your street address, there is no need to fill out the billing address fields. If this provider has a UPIN, enter that information in the UPIN field. The first field is the qualifier. Click the green check to display a list of the currently approved qualifiers. Select the appropriate qualifier from the list and select the Save button. If a qualifier is not required, simply leave this field blank. If the provider has a UPIN number, enter it in the field. If they do not have a UPIN number, simply leave this field blank. Enter the provider's state license number in the State License field. The Social Security number should only be entered if the provider is credentialed with certain payers and bills using their Social Security number. If the provider does not use their Social Security number for billing, leave this field blank. The BWC, Ohio Workers' Comp field, is only used for Ohio workers' comp claims. If your clinic is located in Ohio, enter your BWC or Ohio Workers' Comp provider number here. If your office is not located in Ohio, leave this field blank. If the federal tax ID number was obtained under the doctor's name, then put it under the individual federal tax ID field. If the federal tax ID number was obtained through the clinic or group, then enter the number in the clinic group field. Some offices may have both an individual and a clinic federal tax ID number. If you are credentialed with certain payers under the individual and other payers under the group tax IDs, please fill in both fields. If you only have one, please enter the tax ID in the appropriate field. Every provider in your office should have an individual NPI, also known as an NPI Type 1. Enter the provider's individual NPI in the NPI Type 1 field. The NPI Type 2 is assigned to clinics and groups. Some payers require both an individual provider NPI Type 1 and a clinic group NPI Type 2. If your clinic or group does not have an NPI Type 2, it is recommended that you apply for one. If this provider has a default individual other ID that you always, for all payers, wish to print in either 17B, 24I, 24J, or 33B, enter that information. Select the qualifier from the drop-down and enter the ID in the field to the right. If an ID is entered here, it will print for all payers in the system. Precision gives you the option to set up a default individual payer ID for each individual payer, which we will be going over next. This field is only for if there is a default individual other ID that you would like to print in box 17B, 24I, 24J, or 33B for all payers. If you have a default clinic group other ID to print in 24I, 24J, and 33B for all payers, enter it in the default clinic group other ID field. With the advent of the new HCFA form, most offices will leave these bottom two fields blank. The default individual other ID field and default clinic group other ID field will always print on the HCFA form. If you have been given individual or group other IDs from specific payers, we can enter them now. Select the Specific Pins tab at the top of the window. To add an other ID, select the Add Other ID button. The payer Rolodex will open. Select the payer for which you have the specific ID and then select OK. The Payer Rule window will open, which displays the name of the payer. You will see the Group Other ID and Individual Other ID fields with the qualifiers. If the specific ID has a qualifier, click the green check to open the qualifier menu. Select the appropriate qualifier from the list, then select the Save button. Enter the remaining portion of the ID in the field. Follow the same steps to add the individual other ID for this payer and then select the Save button. Your payer with your IDs are now displayed on the list. If you have other payer-specific individual or group IDs, repeat the process to add them. Once you have finished adding all your IDs, select the Save button. You are now back at the Billing Entity field, and your billing entity and all of its settings are displayed. If you only have one provider in your office, or all providers bill under one provider in your office, you only need to set up a single billing entity. If you have multiple providers and bill under those multiple providers, it is recommended you contact Precizion support so we can get your billing entities set up properly. To close out of the Billing Entity section, select the black X on the top right of the screen, which will take you back to the admin window. This concludes the video on how to set up billing entities in Precizion.